Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is not just about learning English, it is about fear, confidence, embarrassment, hard work, and transformation. This is the inspiring journey of a girl named Shwetha, a simple girl with a big dream, a girl who could not speak even one full sentence in English, but in just 4 months, she changed her life forever. So sit back, relax, and listen carefully, because somewhere in this story, you may find yourself too. Shwetha was 22 years old. She lived in a small town with her parents. She was intelligent, hardworking, kind-hearted, but she had one problem. She was afraid of English. Every time someone spoke English in front of her, her confidence disappeared. In college, she stayed silent. In interviews, she became nervous. Even when she knew the answer, she could not speak. One day in class, the teacher asked, "Can anyone explain this topic in English?" Many students looked down, but suddenly the teacher called, "Shwetha, you try." Her hands started shaking. Slowly, she stood up. She tried to speak, "Ma'am, this topic is very..." The whole class started laughing. Some students whispered, "She doesn't know English." Another student laughed loudly. Shwetha sat down quietly. Her eyes filled with tears. That evening, she looked at herself in the mirror and said, "Why am I so scared? Why can't I speak?" That night, she cried silently, not because people laughed, but because she started believing she was not good enough. A few days later, Shwetha attended a job interview. The interviewer smiled politely and asked, "Tell me about yourself." She knew the answer in her mind, but the words refused to come out. Myself, Shwetha." The interviewer waited. She became nervous. Her mind went blank. After 2 minutes, the interview ended. Outside the office, she sat alone on a bench. People walked past her, cars moved, life continued. But inside, she felt broken. At that moment, she made a decision. No more fear, no more excuses. I will learn English, no matter how difficult it is. That day changed her life. The next morning, Shwetha opened YouTube. She searched, "How to speak English fluently." Thousands of videos appeared. Grammar videos, speaking videos, vocabulary lessons. At first, she felt confused, but then she understood something important. She did not need perfect English. She only needed daily practice. So she created a simple plan. Every day, 1 hour listening, 1 hour speaking, 30 minutes reading, 30 minutes writing. Small steps, every single day. No excuses. The first month was difficult, very difficult. When Shwetha watched English videos, she understood almost nothing. When she tried to speak, she made mistakes constantly. Sometimes she mispronounced words, sometimes she forgot simple sentences. But she continued. Every morning, she stood in front of the mirror and practiced. "Hello, my name is Shwetha. How are you? Today, I feel happy." Again and again. At first, she felt silly, but slowly, something changed. Her fear became smaller. One evening, her mother entered the room and smiled. "Why are you talking alone?" Shwetha laughed nervously. "I'm practicing English." Her mother said gently, "One day you will speak confidently." Those words gave her strength. One day, Shwetha discovered something powerful: stories. Instead of memorizing grammar rules all day, she started listening to English stories. Short stories, motivational stories, children's stories. She listened carefully, then repeated the sentences loudly. Slowly, her pronunciation improved, her confidence improved, and for the first time, learning English became enjoyable. She realized something important. English is not only grammar, English is communication. After 1 month, Shwetha felt slightly confident, so one day she tried to speak English with a shopkeeper. "Can I have 1 water bottle?" But her pronunciation sounded strange. Some boys nearby started laughing. One of them mocked her accent. Immediately, her old fear returned. That night, she almost gave up. She thought, maybe English is only for smart people. Maybe I can never learn. But then she remembered her dream, a better job, a better future, confidence. So the next morning she started again, because winners are not people who never fail. Winners are people who continue after failure. Now, Shwetha became more serious. She stopped wasting time scrolling social media endlessly. Instead, she changed her daily habits. While cooking, she listened to English podcasts. While walking, she repeated sentences. Before sleeping, she learned 10 new words. She also started writing a diary in simple English. "Today, I woke up early. I helped my mother. I practiced English." Small sentences, but every sentence made her stronger. Slowly, English stopped feeling like an enemy. It became part of her daily life. One afternoon, something unexpected happened. Her cousin from Bangalore called her. Usually, Shwetha avoided speaking English, but this time she tried. The conversation was simple, not perfect, but she spoke for 5 minutes continuously in English. After the call ended, she looked at her phone in disbelief. Then she smiled. For the first time, she felt progress. Not perfection, progress. And that gave her hope. By the 3rd month, people started noticing changes. Her confidence improved. She spoke more clearly. Even her posture changed. One day in college, the teacher again asked a question in English. This time, Shwetha slowly raised her hand. The classroom became silent. She stood up nervously and answered in simple English. There were small mistakes, but she completed the answer confidently. The teacher smiled proudly. "Very good, Shwetha." That one sentence healed many old wounds. The same class that once laughed now listened carefully. Many people asked Shwetha, "How did you improve so fast?" She smiled and shared her secret. Not expensive courses, not magic tricks, only consistency. Every single day. Even when she felt tired, she practiced. Even when people laughed, she practiced. Even when progress felt slow, she practiced. Because success does not come from motivation alone. It comes from discipline. By the 4th month, Shwetha was completely different. One day, she attended another interview. This time, the interviewer asked, "Tell me about yourself." But now, she smiled confidently. "Good morning, sir. My name is Shwetha. I come from a small town, but I believe learning never depends on location." She spoke clearly, calmly, confidently. The interview continued for 20 minutes. When it ended, the interviewer smiled. "You communicate very well." Those words almost made her emotional, because 4 months earlier, she could not even introduce herself. A few weeks later, Shwetha bought the job. Her parents felt proud. Her friends felt surprised. But the biggest change was not her English. It was her confidence. She no longer feared mistakes. She no longer stayed silent. She realized something powerful. Fear disappears when action begins. Today, whenever someone says, "I cannot learn English," Shwetha smiles and says, "You can, but you must practice every day." Because fluency is not built in one night. It is built sentence by sentence, day by day, mistake by mistake. And if a shy girl from a small town could learn English in 4 months, then maybe you can too. And remember, do not fear mistakes. Every mistake is proof that you are learning. Keep practicing, Keep growing, and one day you will surprise yourself. After getting the job, Shwetha thought her struggles were finally over, but life had another challenge waiting for her. On her first day at work, she entered a large office building. Everyone around her spoke fast English. Some employees spoke confidently during meetings. Some used difficult words she had never heard before. For a moment, her confidence shook again. She thought, what if they realize my English was not perfect? During lunch break, a few coworkers started talking. One girl asked, "Shwetha, where are you from?" Shwetha answered slowly but confidently, "I'm from a small town near Bangalore." The girl smiled warmly. "That's nice. Your English is actually very good." Those words surprised her, because inside her mind, she still felt like the same shy girl from before. That day, she understood something important. Sometimes we grow faster than our fears. At work, Shwetha noticed something. The best speakers were also the best listeners. So instead of trying to speak all the time, she started listening carefully. She listened during meetings. She listened to podcasts. She listened to interviews on YouTube. Every day, she learned new phrases like, "I understand your point. Let me explain. That's a good idea." Then she practiced those sentences at home. Slowly, her communication became more natural. She no longer translated every sentence from her mother tongue. English started flowing automatically. One morning, her manager announced, "Next week, everyone must give a short presentation." Immediately, Shwetha felt nervous. Public speaking in English? In front of everyone? Her old fear returned again. That evening, she sat quietly in her room. She remembered the classroom laughter, the failed interview, the fear. But then she remembered something else. She had already survived difficult days before. So she prepared carefully. Every night, she practiced her presentation in front of the mirror, again and again and again. Sometimes she forgot lines, sometimes she made mistakes, but she continued practicing because confidence is built through repetition. Finally, presentation day arrived. Her heartbeat felt fast, her hands became cold. One by one, employees gave presentations. Then the manager called, "Shwetha, your turn." She walked slowly to the front. For a second, the room felt silent. Then she took a deep breath and began. "Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about teamwork." Her voice shook slightly at first, but after a few sentences, something changed. She relaxed. She smiled. She spoke clearly. People listened carefully. Some even nodded proudly. After finishing, the room filled with applause. Her manager smiled and said, "Excellent improvement, Shwetha." At that moment, she realized she was no longer the girl who feared English. She had become someone stronger. Months later, many juniors in her office started asking for help. "How can I improve my English? How do I speak confidently? How did you learn so quickly?" Shwetha shared simple advice. Do not fear mistakes. Speak daily. Listen more. Practice small sentences. Be patient with yourself. One junior employee said, "But people laugh at me." Shwetha smiled softly. "People laughed at me too, but your future is more important than their opinions." That sentence touched many hearts. One evening, her friend said, "Shwetha, why don't you start a YouTube channel? Your story can inspire people." At first, she laughed. Me on YouTube? But the idea stayed in her mind. After thinking for many days, she finally uploaded her first video. Title: How I Learned English in 4 Months. At first, only a few people watched it. 10 views, 50 views, 100 views. But slowly the video spread. People connected with her honesty because she was not pretending to be perfect. She was real. One morning, Shwetha opened her phone and froze. Her video had crossed 1 million views. Thousands of comments appeared. Your story inspired me. Now I started practicing English. I thought I was too weak to learn. Thank you for giving me confidence. Tears filled her eyes because she remembered the girl who once cried silently after people laughed at her English. Now, that same girl was inspiring millions. Years later, Shwetha stood on a stage as a guest speaker. Hundreds of students listened carefully. She smiled and said, "I did not learn English because I was talented. I learned because I refused to quit." The room became silent. Then she continued, "Language is not only about words. It is about courage, confidence, and consistency." Many students became emotional listening to her story because deep inside, everyone is fighting some fear, and sometimes one story can change a life. So, dear friends, if you are struggling to learn English today, remember Shwetha. She was not born fluent. She was not perfect. She was afraid too. But every single day she practiced, and slowly her life changed. Maybe your journey will begin today, one sentence at a time, one mistake at a time, one small step at a time. Never feel ashamed of learning, because every expert was once a beginner. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep smiling, and never stop believing in yourself. See you in the next story.